Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to In the Eyes of Truth. I was about to say In the Eyes of Freedom. Well,
Hmm.
we haven't gotten that far yet. Actually, it looks more like the war on freedom is definitely rolling along quite well.
Hey there, entrepreneurs. Are you feeling the squeeze from increasing regulations and higher taxes? Maybe you've noticed the growing instability and thought there has to be a better way. Well, you're not alone, and that's exactly why you need to consider offshoring your wealth now. Imagine a life where your hard-earned money isn't constantly under threat from unpredictable government policies. Sounds pretty good, right? Let me tell you. It's not just a dream, it's a smart strategy. Here at Exit Strategy, we specialize in helping entrepreneurs like you protect and grow their wealth. We navigate the complex world of international finance so you don't have to, from setting up offshore accounts to advising on the best countries with favorable tax laws. We've got you covered. Now, I know what you're thinking. Offshoring sounds risky, maybe even a bit shady, but the truth is many savvy business owners are already doing it. It's not just about dodging taxes, it's about creating a safety net for your future. Imagine diversifying your assets across multiple jurisdictions. When one country faces economic downturns, your wealth remains secure. Think of it as an insurance policy against the uncertainties of life. And let's not forget, having a portion of your wealth offshore can open up opportunities for international investments. You're no longer limited by the economic climate of a single country. You can tap into booming markets around the world, maximizing your returns. But here's the kicker. Time is of the essence. With increasing global scrutiny and tightening regulations, the window for easy offshoring is closing fast. The sooner you act, the better positioned you'll be. So why wait? Protect your wealth, secure your future, and explore new opportunities with Exit Strategy. Don't let the rising dangers in the US economy catch you off guard. Reach out to us today and take the first step towards financial freedom. Because when it comes to your wealth, playing it safe is the riskiest move of all. Thanks for watching, and remember, your future starts with the decisions you make today. Choose wisely, choose Exit Strategy. Catch you in the next video.
Our guest tonight is Thomas Penn. He's been here a couple times. Last time we had some sound issues, so it was a little hard to listen, but today all the sound is good. Not everything sounds good because the things that are coming out of Europe, and particularly the former engine of the European Union, sounds pretty tyrannical. First of all, Thomas, welcome. For those who don't know, Thomas is former U.S. Army and is now a journalist in Germany for what I think 20 years now, right?
Yeah, I've been here off and on for about 20 years. I mean, been back to the States in between, but yeah, about 20 years, you could say,
So basically,
in Germany.
he's a simulated German.
Yeah. You could say as much, I guess. Yeah.
So our two national heroes, Wowe and Lexus, pranked Johann Weidful, who happens to be Mertz's right-hand man. And by the way, I've been on their show before, discussing some of their pranks. I mean, really, it's not even pranks. They get these guys to just talk, and I asked them flat out, "How do you do that?" I mean, okay, you tell them you're Poroshenko, you tell them you're whomever else, and these guys just open up and just spill everything. How did you get it? It's like, we don't
Yeah,
know.
it's really,
Hey,
it's
I
really,
think they
it's
just
really
want to
interesting.
tell somebody.
I also wanted that myself. I think it's just the arrogance of these people. I mean, they're um, it's just so arrogant, and they come out so easily, and it is, they have that desire to tell anybody,
How great they are.
and yeah, how great they are, and how they're gonna, this is a great example. I mean, the one you sent me earlier, I listened to it. I was working, but I tried to, listen to a decent portion of it. It was pretty interesting. They talk about Taurus and all that. If the Merz takes over, and we had the really the snap election, that the AMPU coalition,
Hmm.
the traffic light coalition, it fell apart, and so we're gonna have elections in February coming up here at the end of the month, and yeah, it's just a madhouse lately over here in terms of politics. This country has some serious issues, and it's interesting to watch, like guys like him talk about, Taurus. I mean, this should be the furthest thing from their, concerns right now in Germany. But it's what the CDU in particular, Merz made that, promise to, deliver Taurus.
Well, let me
Um,
ask you this while we're going down there, because he flat out tells these guys are masquerading like as the defense minister of Ukraine and another guy. So let me ask you this straight, because he tells them flat out, German soldiers, we can't sell German soldiers fighting in Ukraine and dying. It's a no sell. But we'll do the Taurus, which is manned by German soldiers. So anything coming back on there is going to be targeting German soldiers. Plus, it's just a friggin' direct declaration of war.
yeah, but I mean, and it's really absurd. I mean, Taurus has no ability I mean, to change the game here. Okay, what's it? I mean, it could be a symbolic thing. I mean, sending it there. But I know what Germany hopes to gain. I mean, for me, it's just a clear signal that these politicians here, they're out of their minds. I mean, I think I've mentioned it before on your show, but we have serious issues in this country. We have a country, we don't even have a military that could defend, the capital. And we're talking about a major political party in this country talking about attacking, the Russian Federation. This country is now, I mean, we've had, in terms of we discussed it last time as well. You had monetary policy, just this bubble economy that's been blown, and then shooting themselves in the foot in terms of really both knees in terms of Russia sanctions, cutting off their own energy supply, um, and the conflict in Ukraine. It's really like this kind of trifecta of just things that have come together here. And to even be discussing this is so irresponsible, so politically imbecilic, strategically imbecilic. I just don't know what they hope to gain by it. You
Well,
got things in Washington are up in the air now, and these guys are talking about, I mean, I think Trump's going to maintain the course when all the cards, are put on the table. But it's just ridiculous what's going on in Germany. It's just I can't even you know these people have grown up inside of this monetary bubble. They're used to having everything, and the United States has enabled a lot of it. I mean, Washington really, um, and how it all ends. I mean, like I said, we've got serious issues in this country. We just had I don't know if you're aware, but Friday they had the vote on limiting immigration to this country. Merz tried to, organize the vote. He
with
failed.
he was pulling in the alternative Future for Deutschland party.
Right. You had
To
some
that.
AFD votes in there, but yeah, it failed. And I mean, we have a massive problem in this country now with, immigration. It's become a serious problem. There's crime like we've never seen before in Germany, stabbings every day, shootings in there. As you know, weapons are tightly regulated in this country. Firearms, I mean, not like in the United States. So it's difficult for people to get firearms and use them in crimes. But and knife crime is just off the charts every
Hmm.
day. There's a rape, murder, kids getting thrown under trains. I just read one yesterday. A lady was on her way home. I forget the name of the city, but she was, raped. It's an everyday occurrence now, and it's multiple daily. Um, and they
Kids
got the
getting tossed
problem
under
that
trains.
yeah, some 13-year-old kid. I think it was an immigrant threw him under the train. And the police, of course, they refused to mention the nationality
So you automatically know it's.
of the perpetrator. But I mean, it's pretty clear what's going on all over the place. Magdeburg, we just had that. And then Aschaffenburg, there was another. A Syrian immigrant, I believe it was, that killed attacked the kindergarten group there.
I haven't heard of that.
And yeah, so I mean, I don't even see in the short term to long term, even if the AFD comes to power here, they're going to have to fulfill on the promises they've made. and they're going to be confronted with serious economic issues and social systems, structures like the pension system that need to be funded. The old parties, I mean, they brought these people over here with the intent or with the hope, which was totally misguided, in my opinion. And I think the facts lay it bare. But with the intention of integrating these people and then having them contribute to the, state-run healthcare, or the I mean, it's done at the barrel of a gun. You pay, or you'd be forced to pay into these systems, the Social Security system, the pension system, and the state healthcare system. And these systems are collapsing on themselves. And so the AFD, if they come to power, for example, they're gonna have to come clean with the German vote. Okay, you want these immigrants, these asylum seekers and immigrants gone. Okay, that's fine. We can do that. But now we're going to have to make some serious cuts. And the Europeans, Germans, the French in particular, they're not used to these are like these austerity measures that are going to have to be undertaken. And I don't know how politically viable the AFD can then remain long term.
Well,
Because these problems have amassed to a critical point, and they're going to have to deal with it. And
let me ask you this. Let me say, before, first of all, I've got two questions on this. But the first one is, as I recall, the Ministry of Labor declared a great triumph. They got 50% of those people that Merkel let in, the 1 million plus combat age men, to work. So another 50% are sitting there just sucking up government largeness. Now, if you get rid of them, because they're not doing anything anyways except being sponges, being leeches, that's a lot of money you could save. I mean, they're
it is a
not
lot of
really
money.
paying into the system
Yeah,
anyways.
yeah, it's not, most of them are not skilled, highly skilled labor. I mean, you do have some Syrian doctors, and the medical system has benefited from some of the from the doctors from Syria and other nations. But generally speaking, yeah, most of them are low skilled labor, and they're not really contributing. And a large portion of them are consuming, benefits, transfer
Yeah.
payments from productive German citizens. And that's not to say there's not any German citizens. There's many German citizens that are still collecting, welfare and even the pension system. Now,
Hmm.
it's a transfer payment in and of itself. I mean, these are not. There's no big pot there. These is money that's taken directly from the working people and given to these people, whether they be native-born Germans or pensioners, or those who've come to this country in recent years just sit at home. And like I said, it's reached a critical point. I mean, they're just not going to be able to, this Germany was never a multicultural society to begin with, like we were in the United States. People came there to the United States for organic reasons. They wanted to, there was religious freedom. There were no social safety nets that you could, rely on. 150 years ago, I'm talking about. No passports. You came and you sank or you swam. You had the freedom, but you sank or you swam. And people here, they're not coming here for the freedom. There is no freedom in this country. They're coming here so they can they can get something for free. And that seems to be lost on the politicians. That when you create these, you create the wrong incentives. You create, a great kind of moral hazard. Is the end result of that. And we're seeing it now. I mean, I wrote about it years ago. I tweeted a lot about it, and I called it, basically, a return to the mean. And that's what we're
Hmm.
experiencing now. And it's just going to get worse and worse. I don't see how the AFD fixes it. I mean, I do. If I had to choose a political party to, throw my support behind into this country, it would be the AFD. I mean, I hope that they can achieve some of what they're looking to achieve. But in terms of remigrating people, as they call it, and then having to deal with the fallout of that, like I said, coming clean with the German voting public, who've become so accustomed over the years to this I guess state-funded largesse, that we have also, I said, before enabled to a great extent, in the United States with, we provide for European defense, and it's made a lot of those things possible. But even that's, a lot of that is in question, up in the air now with Trump, and we're going to see if he implements, tariffs. The United States has the power to really crush Germany, if it wanted to do that.
Well,
Uh,
let me go back real quick to Johann, because if you notice what he said is Russia is our enemy and Russia will always be our enemy. So no matter what, at least if Merz and his co whatever coalition he forms, there's only going to be one direction this is all going in. Um,
Yeah, but like I said before, I mean, I think that's a lot of that is that these guys live in this bubble. Okay, look, the Bundeswehr can't even defend the capital city. We have no ability to project any power militarily, economically. That's all built on a house of cards. So really, at the end of the day, it's just bluster. Okay, if they send tourists, okay, uh, as you mentioned earlier, you need German soldiers to operate that system. Um, I mean, I maybe you see something in it. I don't see what it accomplishes. I mean, strategically, in any way, sending tourists, what is to be gained for the German citizenry, for the German government, for anyone by doing this? I
escalation.
mean, they have that in their heads, and if they want to go down that path, then it's going to be their own ruination. I don't see where Russia is the enemy of Germany. It's just not a realistic assessment. Um, Russia has been a reliable partner, or had been before we, sanctioned it, the hell out of them. I don't even know what sanctions package we're on now, 15.
17, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, it's, I've lost
You missed
count
a
of
few.
the, it's so ridiculous at this point. I don't keep count.
Well, they haven't
But
sanctioned air and water yet, so there's still something they can sanction. You know,
yeah, I think the other day I saw that they're going to
wind.
sanction. Kalas wanted them to sanction, or she wanted the EU to restrict the export of Xboxes and PlayStations to the Russian Federation. It's right. They don't even produce any. That stuff comes from, American companies in China. And
Yeah.
yeah, they live in a fantasy world. They really do. They live in a fantasy world that's been enabled and propped up by the United States, and its monetary bubble that we began in 2008. 2009, right after the great financial crisis, everybody's pumped and pumped and pumped, and we're running out of steam now. And
Well, it's obvious Germans don't understand that the United States is going to destroy them. Because the Anglo aim has always been to destroy the Germans and the Russians and everybody else. And the Germans are easy targets right now. But let
they,
me ask
they
you
really
this.
are. Uh,
Trump just slapped down 25% tariff on Canada and Mexico. Never mind, these tariffs aren't going to have the effect to bring back industry to the U.S. like he's hoping, because there's a whole lot of other issues in the U.S. that tariffs don't solve. There are two, but not the way he's using them. But okay, 10% on China, so and I'm sure there'll be more. Now, if he's threatened 25% tariffs on all of European goods on the entire EU, what would happen if 25% tariffs hit Germany right now? And forcing them to buy
see,
only American gas,
that's
LNG.
that's the power he has, and most people, they look at it as a. You're right in the sense that the United States doesn't have the manufacturing base anymore. It lost that years ago, and that resulted. I mean, when the United States left the gold standard. Um, I mean, this discussion, we could turn it into a huge, we could go on for hours, but the United States left the gold standard, and really it needed a new mechanism, uh, a new reason for people to hoard US dollars, especially overseas. As all that inflation came pouring back in the United States, people wanted, saw the United States collapsing. They wanted gold for their dollars. And we really moved to the fiat system, and the United States was able to drag the world off the gold standard and move to these, the fiat dollar-based system that we have today. And the initiator for that was really Saudi Arabia uh, and OPEC, and pricing, commodities in dollars. And this sucked all those dollars back out. And all the nations of the world, they needed massive dollar reserves in order to engage in international trade. And this had the effect, I mean, China then was opened up, and we moved towards a service-based economy in the United States, and we basically funded the growth of the mm, Chinese behemoth, the Chinese manufacturing behemoth that exists today. And world reserve currency status has enabled us to, in the United States, to run these massive deficits that we run because we have the ability to export, our inflation. So basically all the nations of the world are forced to use the US dollar.
Hmm.
And this in turn has, allows us also to purchase these goods that the Europeans, primarily the Germans, produce. I mean, we are the number one export nation for Germany. And so you have this coupled with, and you think of the growth in Germany. It's been we in the United States, as the number one export nation, have been consuming their goods with this funny money, basically. And this enables us now to strategically place these. And the United States, Washington could crush the German economy overnight
Hmm.
if it wanted to do it.
I
And
think it
if you think
does.
about it, yeah, 25% tariff, I mean, on all German imports or exports rather to the United States, any good that we would be importing in the United States is, if it's hit with a 25% tariff, nobody's that stuff's not getting purchased in the United. You're going to drive up
Well,
the cost of it to uh,
wait a second,
uh,
wait a second. There is an option because they can hit the 25% tariff, just like they're hitting the 10% tariff in China, but it's the consumer that's going to be sucking that up because there are no
that's yeah.
alternative goods in the US, or there aren't
Wait,
enough to fill
we
market demand. And the
yeah.
American companies are going
Right.
to hike up their prices to match or just a little bit shy of the new prices of the importers.
You're
Never
right.
mind subcomponents.
This is true. I mean, just focus on German goods. I mean, yeah, you're correct. But we can, as a nation, withstand that pain a lot longer than the Germans can withstand it. Those tariffs going into place would crush German industry, their export market overnight, um, and companies would be crushed. I mean, we were talking about tens of thousands of jobs, um, and the German economy just cannot withstand that. We've seen, the problems that we've created here ourselves with Russia. We're on the brink already, and
Well, those German workers
implementing.
can move to Russia.
Yeah, I mean, there's even talk of that. You've heard it. I mean, with Mercedes-Benz and Volkswagen, Volkswagen just recently shut down a bunch of plants here. Three laid off. I mean, there's thousands and thousands and thousands of layoffs across this country, um, and the people are hurting. The government just wants more and more and more, and
They always do.
I don't see a way out for them. I really don't. I mean, I like to be positive in some way, but for the German economy, the way things have evolved now, Europe is the biggest loser in all of everything that's transpired since February 2022, and they just keep making things worse for themselves. And this debate about tourists is just it's it's these people don't live in reality. Um, I don't know how else to tell it to you. They just don't exist in the world, the same real world that we live in.
Well, let's take this back a little bit. We talked about that Mertz allied for the vote on migrants with AFD, which supposedly nobody's going to touch AFD. And then out comes Schultz, the wet sausage, liverwurst, and says, "Oh, because some party has allied on a vote with AFD and they are verboten, um, we must defend democracy by canceling or the second most popular party, possibly soon to be the first most popular party in Germany."
Yeah, you have to think about that. I mean, take that and put it in the context of the second, the 1933 to 45 period. You know, these people talk about defending. They despise democracy. These mainstream political parties. They hate freedom. They despise democracy. Um, the Nazi Party banned, other political parties, and that you could stand there and in the same breath, have that knowledge and then accuse this other party of being, a threat to democracy. So we need to ban them. You know, uh, that's just on the face of it. Every freedom-loving person everywhere in the world, including Germany, unfortunately there aren't that many of them here. Um, should look at that and think, Jesus Christ, I mean, we need these people, they need to go. And unfortunately, that doesn't happen here. I mean, because there's a different dynamic. Like I said, you have a lot of people that vote for the CDU and the Christian Democratic Union and their
There's nothing
counterparts
Christian about
and nothing Christian about it really, and the counterpart CSU which is in Bavaria, and then the SPD. And these people you have a lot of pensioners and welfare recipients and people who primarily benefit from these transfer payments, just from the entire transfer payment Ponzi in this country. They're the ones that these are the big voting blocks. And so in the United States, in the last election cycle, it's pretty easy to predict. I mean, for me, it was clear. I think I put one out on Twitter or X. I called every state correctly except for Nevada. I knew Trump was going to win. It was clear. This country is a little harder to call because the system is a little different. We have the parliamentary system here, and everything's divided. Everybody has to, they need to form these coalitions. That's a byproduct of the Second World War. And yeah, I mean, I don't know how it's going to play out. I think that the AFD will rise a little further than it's done already. I think they just hit in the last poll I saw from yesterday or today, 22%. I think the anger is a little deeper than that. And when it comes to the election, they'll pull more votes than the polling is showing. But you still have this big block of people that are going to support the CDU and the SPD and even the Greens to an extent. They've lost a lot of their numbers, the Greens, but they're still going to get
They got power. Yeah.
yeah, especially in the big cities. But the CDU and the SPD, I wouldn't count them out yet because of the fact that you have these blocks of people that are so dependent on these um, transfer payments and the AFD is a potential threat to that. I think people sense that. And they want to maintain the status quo. Germans, they don't like change too much. They like to, keep what is, and they're afraid of it, change.
Well,
And
wait a second. For people that don't like change, and I know what you're talking about. I know the German mentality. So on the one hand, they don't want change, but the parties that are in power have changed everything, and for
right,
the worse,
yeah,
nothing for the better. But let me ask you this too. Um, AFD is being threatened with being banned. People have this tendency of when you tell them not to do something, they'll go do it just because you tell them not to do something. Do you think
yeah.
it's going to pull more votes if when they people look and go, well, they're telling me not to vote for these guys to the point where they're willing to ban the second most popular party? Hmm, maybe I should really go vote for them.
I think that's the mentality in somewhat in Russia and in the United States for sure. If you're told not to do something, generally, you go and
Hold
do
my
it.
beer,
Right. But
boy, hold my beer.
in
Yeah.
Germany, it's different. The people are like, I remember this one debate that these guys were having about the driver's license, and the thing was like, I think I saw video, some the discussion, and there was I believe it was an American or a Brit, I think it was an American, and he said, if you don't have a driver's license, it's just a kind of short story to give you an insight into the German mentality. Says, what if you don't have a driver's license? You have to go somewhere. You need to take a quick ride or something to get to the store, but you don't have your license. And the American, of course, he's just get in the car and who cares? And the German, he's thinking, how does you can't drive without a driver's license. And they come back to the guy and they say, well, what if it's an emergency and you need, well, you can't drive. If you don't have a driver's license, you can't drive. Basically, that's the German. Um, they're very rigid. They're very used to, their rules, their structures, and they don't deviate outside of those rules and structures. This ordnung that you call it, and so it still is a very rigid society, a very rigid types. They're not outside of the box thinkers. They think very within the box, and they don't deviate out of those, strict, you know, uh,
You know that
barriers that have been set for them.
that
So I
explains
mean,
why
uh,
Germany and Japan were such good allies in the Second World War. Remember back when the big earthquake hit Japan,
oh yeah,
Fukusumi.
2011,
Yeah, one of
Fukushima. Yeah.
those. A lot of those towns are in valleys, so when the wave came in, it's just like going down a bowling alley, right? So it's taking out everything.
Right.
Well, there was an incident. I don't remember the name of the town, but everybody was trying to run for it. They all got on the interstate going out, and they all got in a massive traffic jam, and they're all just sitting there, right? One car full of people escaped. All the others were washed away because that one car started driving down the fields, got off the
Yeah.
road, and just guess who was in the car?
It's not a Japanese guy.
No, Russian tourists. The father of the family said, "Screw this,"
Yeah.
got off the road and made the run for it.
Uh,
And all the other Japanese, they just, I mean, all the Japanese just sat there
uh,
honking, honking, honking till the wave came and killed them.
you have very much that same type of I mean, this type of herd thinking. It's given it has had its benefits for the Japanese and the Germans also in some ways, but in many ways it's very it's had a lot of negative effects. You saw that during the COVID time. I mean, people you had in the United States during COVID, you had a lot of resistance to it. I mean, I would
Hmm.
say probably at least half the population resisted this kind of absurd bullshit that went on during that time. The way they reported
Russia's
about
even
it, you would
worse.
yeah. You would think that people, that you'd walk out on the streets and the bodies were stacked up, the way the reporting on the mainstream news, was being done. And yeah, you had the resistance in the United States. The big chunk of the population just completely resisted it and or didn't care. Because people sense danger, they know, they feel it. Like I
Right,
said, if
right.
you go out, if you go on the side, you go on the street, you see it, you can sense it, and you know something's wrong, and that was not the case during COVID.
Nope.
But in Germany, holy hell! I mean, you had the entire population just march together and lock and step and everything. The way they shut down everything, you needed papers to go anywhere, do anything. It was absurd. To go into a restaurant, a bar. I mean, everybody complies here. It's not you. You have a few outliers, but they're mostly foreigners, and generally people just comply with any mandate or any rule because of what we discussed earlier. They live within these structures. This so-called ordnung is it's what compels them. It's what drives them, and it's like the driver's license thing. They're told what to do, and then they do it. And yeah, so and the Holocaust is a great example. There were a lot of people that didn't believe in that, I think. If you go back and read the testimony,
Hmm.
read the stories, you learn the history, but they just went along with it anyway because that's what they were told to do. And that part of the German psyche is still very much alive today. Um, and yeah, I don't think, if there was a major movement to ban the AFD, or it depends also on the political on the conditions on the ground. Things like I said here earlier, they're getting worse and worse and worse, by the day. So it really depends on, you know, can people feed themselves? Do they have enough, to take care of their families? If we get to that point, I mean, I guess all bets are off then, um, and anything could happen. But yeah, I mean, they are slowly losing control. The mainstream uh, old political parties in this country, they've let it get so out of control that yeah, I mean, I expect, like I said, I think there's going to be some more the numbers will be higher for the AFD than the polls are showing. But we'll see what happens.
Well, let me ask you
But I
this,
don't.
because revolutions tend to be contagious. Now, if, we're looking at Romania right now on the edge of revolution. So if Romania goes, Moldova's going to go, possibly Bulgaria, even though they're trying to play it more neutral these days. Greece, all these areas are prompt to go. So now you're looking at a possible revolution in France. Do you think that'll spill over into, it might spill over into Italy, but do you think it'll spill over into Germany?
I know the French also have the different mentality.
Oh,
They don't
yes, very
have
much so.
they don't have weapons like the access to firearms like the Germans, but they're much more fiery, I would say, than the Germans. And they go out and they'll start a ruckus over basically anything that gets under the skin,
My
and they don't have
croissant
that.
is soggy.
Uh,
We must have a
uh,
revolution now. Yeah, the French
uh,
are like that. It's a weekend. Let's go have a revolution. A
but
protest.
that's where the mentality comes back into play in Germany. I just don't see the German people as mm, they just don't have that fire in them. Just they adhere to these structures too strongly uh, just to just not French. I guess that's the best way to put it.
Which is funny because
I
the Franks are Germanics in
uh,
their own right. Uh,
no, the French are not. No, the French are like the Celts, or
well, it's
that's
a
their
mix.
origin.
It's a mix.
Yeah,
F-
you
The
have you do
word
have a mix,
French,
yeah.
the word French is from the
But
Franks, and the Franks were Germans. But below them were the Celts and the Latins, and well, first I guess it was the Celts, then it was the Latins. Uh,
I think, yeah, I know the French are just a totally different species than
yeah.
the Germans, and
Oh, absolutely.
I don't see them doing too much in terms of the conditions here would have to get pretty deplorable, I think, um, for that to
Well,
happen.
do you think? So, I mean, if they, one of the things I've been reading is that gun laws in Germany are pretty tight. They're relatively tight in Russia too, but not. I think Germany's worse. But
Germany's worse.
if Russia's definitely not on the level of the U.S. I wouldn't mind if
Yeah,
guns were much more
but
freely available to citizens, but that's a separate
but
issue.
of the
But
three, Germany is the hardest to get a weapon.
but there's been news articles that in several Bundeslands they've started disarming the registered AFD from their legally owned weapons, the AFD members.
Uh, I haven't seen anything directly. You'd have to send me the links. I can certainly
Hmm.
take. I'm sure it's within the realm of possibility that it's happening. Um, but yeah, a lot of AFD members are being disenfranchised, being debanked. They're coming after
Debanked.
them. Yeah, they're coming after them hard. The party itself has been, certain regional headquarters have been regional affiliations have been, debanked, shut down, bank accounts closed, frozen.
So wait a second. So now there's direct discrimination on a political basis for the party you're registered to. They'll just go close your bank account.
In terms of individuals, I don't. I have to. I think I've heard some stories, but in terms of the party themselves, um, they have yes, their accounts have been targeted and shut down, and it's happened. Not just once. It's happened. It's becoming quite widespread. Um, so they're deplatformed, debanked. You see Alice Vital, she's the head of the party.
Hmm.
And this lady is constantly attacked. She's
Oh yeah,
called
I've seen that.
a Nazi. She's verbally assaulted, I mean, on a daily basis. And this lady there's nothing, absolutely nothing, that would um, signify or indicate in any way in this woman's history or anything she said that she is a Nazi. Um, these people are, every party has, problem people. They've had some problem people in the AFD. They've dealt with it pretty well, those people. And they're basically a freedom-based party. They want more freedom, more liberty for the German citizens. They want to, it's something like the United States, kind of like a libertarian movement a little bit. You have to go through the whole party platform. It's not all libertarian, but a lot of it is.
Thomas, I'm sorry I have to interrupt. We are almost out of time. We've got like about 30 seconds left. I want to thank everybody who joined us. If you've got questions, write them in the comments. Uh, Thomas will get it. I'll get them. If you want any specific topics on Germany covered, let me know. German experts today, we will. I'll get together with them, with Thomas, with Helmut, and we'll, we'll get you the answers you want. So let us know. Thomas.